CourseFactor is a full-service affordable web design company located in central Pennsylvania. Our shared and dedicated hosting options, which are powered by Amazon Web Services, start at just $48 per year. Our hosting offers unmatched scalability, reliability, and support. Our SEO and digital marketing campaigns include a ranking improvement guarantee and are custom tailored to fit any budget. Contact us for a free SEO analysis. Your vision is our mission. Customer satisfaction is our main goal. With more than 35 years in business, our customer retention rate exceeds 99%. Your satisfaction is our first priority. Let us help you with your next project. No job is too big or too small. All right, I think we're all set to get started. So I'm streaming to our Facebook page now, which is great. So people can join us on there. I just want to pull that up so I have that in case people are asking questions on there. But today's topic is going to be Gutenberg Block Builder, which is a built-in functionality with WordPress. And when building websites, I kind of highly suggest that no matter what theme that you use, you try to use the Gutenberg Block Builder as much as you can for populating your pages. It's kind of the technique that we use here at CourseFactor. And the reason for that is, you ever want to switch your theme, you can do so easily by porting into a different theme, and that way you're not having all these custom pages that sometimes the theme throws a lot of code into pages. For example, this page that you're looking at here, the Cave Creek Equine, this home page was built using Elementor. The Elementor builder, but if we ever wanted to switch this theme of this site, it would be, to put it lightly, a royal pain to get this switched over, because you'd have to copy and paste everything by hand. Using the Gutenberg Block Builder, pretty much all themes across WordPress will work with it, which is why everything but the home page on this entire site, I'm going to kind of use this site as our example for today, is built using Gutenberg, just in case that gives them the freedom to easily switch out from this theme if they ever decide to. So you can be very customized as far as what you can do as far as your layout goes as well. So we'll kind of go into that. Welcome, it looks like our Kestenbaum. So we're just going to, like I said, we're just going to go right into it, jump into this. So I'm just going to create a new post. I'm not actually going to publish it. We actually just finished this Cave Creek site, a Cave Creek Equine site up for a client of ours just actually 2 days ago. So we're excited about that, and they are very happy with it. So they tell us, at least. So anyways, I'm just going to create a post here using the Gutenberg Block Builder. I'm not going to actually publish it, but you can actually see kind of how we walk through this. So the very first thing that you're set up with is when you add a new post is you're going to add, or page for that matter, you have your title that you want to add. So that's built right into the Block Builder as the first thing. So we're just going to say sample page or sample post. And then you start right into writing or choosing a block. If you want to just start writing, you click in that area and you can just write, this is content. You can just start writing your content. Every time you hit enter, it automatically creates a new block for you, a new paragraph. It's really nice to use as far as typing goes. On the right hand side here is where each of your block settings are going to be. So you'll see text settings. So if I want this block to be huge, I can do that. Customize it, make it even larger, reset it, change the color to red, my background color to, well, I wouldn't do that. Let's say pink. There's a bunch of options over here, and this is kind of, it's not the most customizable yet. Gutenberg's consistently growing, so it's not the most customizable yet, but it's getting there. You'll have to use CSS if you actually want to go any further than what you see in the settings on the right hand side here, which you can do so easily by adding a custom CSS class if you wanted to do that. But I'll go into kind of the different types of blocks and then formatting, different columns and things like that next. The text blocks are very self-explanatory, I think. If you have any inkling of WordPress experience, you should be able to figure these out. Bold, italicize, you can create a link, etc. When you're creating a link, kind of something that I used to do a lot. Was I would just type it in and I would always forget to either hit enter or actually click the submit button. If I don't do that, there's no link there. So just make sure that that's something you do. And you also have that ability to open a new tab.
I have a quick question if you don't mind.
Go for it.
When you selected the font size out of the presets, when you selected huge, so how does that work responsively? So like tablet size, would it automatically get smaller for tablet, or do you have to do some CSS to?
It depends on your theme. Typically, your font sizes aren't. It depends on, again, like I guess how your theme is set up and how the CSS in that theme is. For example, on this site, we're using Elementor. So when we set a text size, it actually stays the same. Now, it'll go to 2 different lines if it needs to. But it'll stay the same. So you have to be careful when you're making very large fonts. If you have a really long word or an email address, for example, you have to be careful of it kind of going off the page, especially on mobile devices when you're doing that.
Okay.
But that's just the paragraph one. What's nice, though, is that I guess I'll kind of jump into that next. And instead of changing your text size here, and this goes into some of the SEO as well, is when you're creating headings for your page, you can do so by just clicking on the paragraph and selecting heading. And now it's an H2, H3, H4, whatever you decide to go. Now this little drop down here only goes up to H4. Obviously there is H6 up to H6 is available, but you can't select it from here. You have to go to the right hand side and select it. Just kind of a nuance there, which I don't know why they wouldn't add the 5 and the 6 right here. Doesn't take up that much room, but that's just part of Gutenberg. So there's your headings. Additional options, and this goes for any type of block, is these little 3 dots here, more options. You can click on those. You can duplicate, insert before or after, and these are blocks. You can edit as HTML if you prefer working in that classic editor style, or you can remove it. Also, when you click this, just simply hitting delete. I know you have this shortcut here, or the keyboard code here, but if you click this more options and hit delete on your keyboard, it'll actually delete it as well. So we're going to start fresh. So we'll go over a couple of the different types of blocks. I'm not going to get into columns yet, but you have buttons. And when you do this, the formatting of the buttons is a little difficult to kind of get access to it. And what I mean by that is, I'm sorry, not the formatting, the alignment. Because let's say if you wanted this button centered, there's no option to center it over here, or even over here for that matter. It's kind of nuanced to try and get to it. What you have to do is click outside of, when you're in this button, you can see this menu here. You have to kind of click a little bit above or somewhere around it, and then you can center it. Like I said, it's kind of a little nuanced there, but the option is there to center it. You don't have to go in to dig into CSS to do that. And something nice as well is that when you add one button, you have the ability to add buttons around it. So if you wanted to add one directly to the left, you can add more. So you can create a whole set of buttons as you go through here. And if I click inside it, well, I clicked another one. So if I click inside this button, you have the option to actually change the colors over here. You can add a gradient to it. There's a bunch of options. The border radius, if you want more square, you can do that as well.
Is that all Gutenberg, or is that part of Elementor?
This is all Gutenberg.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Which is why, like I said, when we build sites, we try to only build the header and the footer inside of our theme when we do it. And then everything else outside of that, we try to do as much as we possibly can in Gutenberg, because the flexibility of changing the theme later on. So those are the buttons. Let's add another one. Actually, shoot, it keeps going with the buttons. Let's add another block down here. Let's see here. I mean, you can see how many different types of blocks that there actually are. I won't go into all of them. Button's a popular one. Like I said, I won't get into all of them. But I will say, let's do image next, because I know that's a very popular one. I'm selecting from the media library. I'm just going to I'll pick one of this horse. And again, you have a lot of options on the right-hand side and up above it. Here's your alignment. So I want it centered. Be careful on this image size. It always seems to default to thumbnail. So if you want it bigger than that, you can select that. Let's say full size. You can change the width and the height. Something unique and this goes back to anytime you add an image to a site. If you drop the height, which I will try to get rid of, doesn't want to. It's being difficult right now. Okay. With Gutenberg, I'm sorry. When you change the width, so I want it to be 500, you don't have to worry about setting the height. It'll set that automatically, so you don't lose that aspect ratio of the image. I'm going to preview it here so you can see. It's still loading. There we go. So as I change that block, let's say we'll go down to 300. It'll automatically change the aspect ratio, as you can see there, which is really nice. So you only really need to worry about setting one of these when you go ahead and do that. So that's the image. Yeah, you can change. There's, like I said, there's tons of options. You just got to kind of play around and see here. You can write a caption automatically for it. You can replace the image, link it. And again, your block settings are all on this right-hand side here. Another great block that I like using a lot is the gallery block, which is really nice, because I know there's a tons of gallery plugins out there, like Envira Gallery, which I know that we use on some of our sites, but there's a gallery plugin built, or functionality built right into Gutenberg as well. So you just select however many images you want. So if I want all the veterinarians that they have here at this specific hospital, I can do so, and insert those all three into the gallery, and it creates a nice layout here. You can change how many columns. So if I only want one per, you can crop the images to specific alignments. That way they're not, jagged or anything like that. So, and now for the meat and potatoes, which is the really fun part of Gutenberg, and that is the formatting of a page. And this is where it gets, I would say, a little bit more difficult. And that is the columns that they have here, the column options. So I'm going to start by clicking on adding a new block, and then go into columns. And you have a bunch of options here to start with. These are kind of your base, but you can customize these if you'd like. I'm just going to start with let's start with a 50-50 two-column layout. And how this works now, so if I wanted to let's see here. Let's just put let's put a heading. Test. Let's put a test in this one. So there's my 2-column layout. When I go to hit preview, it'll obviously be kind of what you see here. Test, yeah. And how this works as well for mobile is that this left one will stack on top of the right one when it gets smaller. As you can see there. Now, where this gets interesting is when you have a heading down below this test. So I'm just going to call that one my 3rd heading. So you have to be careful when you're doing this with your column layouts, and that's because when this goes to mobile now, this entire block will be stacked on top of this one, so it doesn't read directly across like this. Another interesting element that it comes with this as well is that this is an entire column now, and so is this over here. So you can see how I can click into these columns or these specific blocks. It's a little bit of a pain. You have to kind of double click around a little bit. I haven't found an easier way to do this, so please, if anyone knows of an easier way to do this, please let me know. To kind of click around, there it is. So I finally got the whole 2-column of blocks laid out.
There is, if you are having trouble clicking, if you go up to the top left, right there, there's like a...
Oh, that's beautiful. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, I use it all the time.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, that's something I learned. Thank you. That's why we have these meetups, so we can all bounce off ideas off each other. So no, that's oh my gosh, you just saved a lot of time for me.
Yeah.
That's great. But yeah, you can align things. So I guess now I want to get into this column. If I click on this block, I can align it middle. And when I hit preview, vertically align it middle. That is awesome, Maria. You just made my night. This is aligned vertically then. So, adding another block then, or more columns underneath. I'll do a 3-column layout this time. You can get into that very easily on the left-hand side. Wow, that is awesome. And as this goes, though, you just have to remember, okay, so this entire block here is first. So when this stacks on mobile, it's going to be the test 3rd heading paragraph, followed by this, and then followed by these 3 in order. So that's kind of the blocks. I think that's about it that I'd like to go over, because I definitely want to get right to Q&A. That's just kind of the basic block editor. Q&A/discussion, because I want to learn more things from Maria.
Well, I don't really have many questions. I've only been doing WordPress for about 5 years, and mainly just managing sites. I built one for a nonprofit I'm involved in, so just kind of keeping that up and maintained. And I always like to, learn as much as I can, and it's so nice to be able to have these meetups virtually.
Yeah, we plan on having these meetups about once a month, so check back in next month, and maybe you can school me on something else that I don't know of.
Yeah, we can always learn something, so this is...
Exactly, yep.
That's great.